Hi, welcome to WMD, that's Woody's Modelling Diary, and we're here today with Chalkdon, my 009 narrow gauge layout. And I'm in a little bit of an embarrassing position because it's nearly finished, which is a bit surreal for me as I never really finish things. Still a few jobs to do on it, so I suppose I can say it's 99% there. But to all intents and purposes, it's just about finished. So let's have a look what's been going on. Well, straight in front of the are these level crossing gates. They're made out of plastic strip and plastic rod with some brass wire bent for hinges and brackets for the hinges to slot into. It does work. If I can remember which, no, that gate goes there first and then that one folds over. So that's been quite nice just to give that little bit of an area a finished look to it. What else has been happening? Well, going towards the rear of the layout, there's the two shed thread trading area. The hillside's been landscaped a little bit more. The open shed has got some crates and sacks and a few barrels scattered around the place. There's now a buffer stop to stop the plummeting of rolling stock off the edge of the layout. Coming down the sort of quayside or wharf side, we've got another buffer stop there. And I do like this. This was a 3D print which I picked up with some 3D print loco kits, which one of them has featured in an earlier episode on the channel. I'll just put this shed back into place. There's also a 3D print greenhouse which I've glazed with glue and glaze from Deluxe Materials. There's a bit of hedging gone in around the side there just to skew the shadows, but that gives you an idea of what's been going on there. There's now a telephone box and a crossing keeper's hut. The garage itself must be doing quite well because they've managed to get this very nice American wrecker truck. There's a Hillman imp in for some work. Quite why it's facing forwards I don't know, because the engine's at the rear. I'll have to have a chat with the management about that. There's a skip which needs a little bit of dirting up and a few bits of scrap metal put in it. We've got a few vehicles now. There's a nice little minivan from the post office. There's obviously the Volkswagen Beetle getting some fuel, and the little I think they were called Izettas. I can't quite remember. But going further up the layout, we've got a JCB which is sort of parked up because they've taken delivery of this excavator. And on the bridge is the brand new Foden lorry, which is a Nightwing kit. Unfortunately that company doesn't exist anymore, but that's heading down towards the quarry. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with the fact that it's come together like this. So it's a time like this when you begin to think back as to how much time and money's been spent on this. Time wise, probably just under 4 years. I started this at the start of the pandemic. I wasn't on furlough, so this was very much a spare time modelling exercise. But initially, I just built from here, this sort of side of the layout as the first part, and then extended it with the second part. And the overall size is 6'6" by 22 inches, which I think in metric sizes is 2 meters by about 56, 57 centimeters. Cost wise, well, the baseboard didn't cost me anything because it was made out of bits of wood I had left around in the garage. But if you wanted to build a sort of 6 foot by 2 foot baseboard, which is slightly shorter but slightly wider than this one, materials from B&Q would cost about £40 for a sheet of 6 by 2 plywood and some 2 by 1 bracing timbers. Track wise, that did frighten me because track at current prices has gone up quite a bit from what I paid for it initially. Basically, there are 8 points. There are 4 packs of curves, 9-inch curves, and probably about 3 meters of flex track. The flex track is always the cheaper option for the straight sections. So if you are looking to buy 009 track and you're thinking of buying some straights, buy the flexi track if you need more than a few feet of straight track. Price wise, I think the points are now around about £15. The packs of curves I think are around about £20 as well, for that's a half circle of curves. So the track work came out at roughly, I think, about £235, including the sort of miscellaneous buffer stops and point levers. Scenic wise, the buildings, 3 of them are dipole buildings. You can pick those up for anything between about £7 and £10. There's a Will's Chapel kit, which I think was about a tenner at the time. The 2 sheds in the corner, they were part of a Will's sort of car service station kit, and they came out again at about a tenner. The little hut there was in my scrap box, but again, you'd probably pay about £5 or £6 for that. The 2 narrow boats, Craftsman kits, they came out, I think, about £7.50 each. What else was there? Yes, the bridges, they're the Will's underpass kits, butchered around to fit what I needed. There's one there, and there's another one where the lorry's standing. Oops, pardon my camera movement there. They're around about a tenner each. The rest of the things were mainly either out of the scrap box or scratch built. The hoppers there and the auger feeding the hoppers, they were scratch built. The grounded wagon body there was given to me very kindly by somebody, but I think it actually came free with the railway modeller. But if you wanted one, probably a tenner would buy that. So I think with the various kits around, there's probably about £100 worth of kits and bits of plasticard to make them. That bridge there was just scratch built out of a few bits and pieces lying about. Scenic wise, well, my extravagance stretched to these 6 trees, which are woodland scenic trees. They were about £30 for the 6 of them. The tree in the corner is one which I made up basically from florist wire, twisted and then coated in acrylic paste, and some woodland scenics foliage put on top of that. I think the rest of the scenics would probably be about £50 with the static grass and various other little bits and pieces. So I think the total that I reckon it would cost to build this now will be somewhere in the region of about £455. Now, that sounds quite a hefty amount of money, especially as you haven't even put any rolling stock on. But calculated over the fact that it's been, to me, nearly 4 years worth of enjoyment, a couple of hours a week, I think it works out at something like £2.27.5 an hour, which, when you consider what you can get for £2.27.5 an hour, it's not bad value. Rolling stock wise, well, that's a difficult question because 009 stock is not cheap. Most of the locos these days just for analog are about £150. If you buy the Bachmann or any of, I think Pico have released the England, and there's possibly one or two others as well floating around. Rolling stock again, wagons are about £30 to £40. However, if you were to get yourself a 3D print, put it on a Kato chassis, and you're not bothered about DCC, you could build one of those for less than £50. So a couple of those made by yourself, and it's more or less just a case of painting rather than assembling too much on most of these kits. You could have a couple of locos for £100. Wagon kits, I think these sheep wagons, which I bought second hand, I think they are kits, not sure who made them, but roughly looking at the web you can buy a kit for about £10 or slightly less depending on what you want. Again, coaches, if you buy the ready-made ready to run ones, I think they're currently about £40 a time, which begins to add up a little bit, but again you can build kits. And I think realistically, if you were to shop carefully and be happy with some 3D print locos, you could end up with a fleet of a couple of locos and a few wagons and a couple of coaches for around about the £200-ish mark. Throw in a controller, well, Bachmann's little analog controller is about £50 new. I have seen them on eBay from anything from about £12.50 to £25. So if you're willing to shop around a little bit, again, you could get a bargain out there. Just be careful when you're buying second-hand electrical stuff. It's usually best to have it tested. But in effect, you could build this layout and stock it with some rolling stock for, I think, roughly sort of about 600 if you were very cautious, and if you really did want to go for ready to run, it would probably take you up to about 700, 750. But again, if you look at the amount of time which it would take to build, unless you're a really speedy builder and you condense it into a very, very short time, it is good value for money. The hourly rate in effect is very, very good. So anyway, there you have it. I hope those facts and figures give you a little bit of impetus if you are thinking of building something like this. Have a go. And I think my advice to anybody looking at building a layout is the most difficult part is getting started. Once you start, it begins to take over and you get the impetus to carry on. So have a think about it, and with the new year coming on, 2024, it might be one of those New Year's resolutions to actually get down and build a layout. And if I can build something like this, anybody can. I'm not the best modeler in the world, far from it. I've just been doing it a long time, and I know how to bodge things and probably get away with some of those problems which arise. But have a go. Anyway, I hope this has been of interest. As Christmas is coming up, I hope you all have a great Christmas, and 2024 is a really good year for you. And thanks very much for watching. To those people who've subscribed, my thanks as ever. It is quite a fantastic number of people who've subscribed to my sort of ramblings. But I say thank you for that. Anyway, you take care of yourself, and we'll finish off with a few locos running, which I always like, and that was the purpose of this layout. See locos run. Thanks very much. Take care of yourselves. Bye.